Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings Week 11. Best bets reminder, smash the like to the episode, sub to Mayo Media Network, and if you want extended sports betting coverage, including World Cup, which is coming up, head on over to thehammer.bet or Hammer HQ on YouTube right now. Hit the links down in the description. The DraftKings Listeners League, it's not quite full as of yet, but you might want to get your spot. That's down in the description as well. And if you want some prop betting tools and DFS tools, runthesims.com/Mayo will get you 10% off. Leave a rating and review on the audio podcast as well. Always goes a long way in helping everything out. Rob Pizzola, Cam Stewart are on the line. Fellas, well, actually, Rob, you actually had a decent week. Cam,
yeah.
I lost all my money. It was not good.
No, I got to tell you, Pat, like I was just talking to Rob. I say the NFL, like it's like a Mexican soap opera. Why even watch till the last 5 minutes of the show? The villain comes back, slap, the girl slaps the guy. He's cheating on everybody in town. Like, I don't know what's going on with this league. Betting on Denver's probably pretty stupid. Watching Russell Wilson throw picks every game, right, Rob? Oh, yeah, the time we have the Commanders with Carson Wentz, Prince Harry's throwing an interception from the 1 yard line. They can't even get in. This league will put you, as Rob says, in orbit. What about that Bills-Vikings game last week? This stuff isn't even real to me anymore. It's like a movie.
Yep, I agree with you. I mean, there's a point every single week where I'm sitting on the couch watching Red Zone. It's 3:30. Wife comes downstairs and says, "How are the games going for us today?" And I'm like, we're 4-1 right now. She's like, "Well, that's good." I'm like, "Nah, it could be 1-4 in about 3 minutes here." Like everything. A good friend of mine always calls it the knife edge. Scott Hansen calls it the witching hour. But the reality is there are so many games that are just coin flips, and you hope every single week that you're going to just be on the right side of some of the coin flips.
You know what I call it, Rob?
For me, it worked last week.
I call it shit. And I'll tell you another thing. My girlfriend doesn't want to see me on Sundays anymore. Like I'm like in a ball crying. Oh, where'd my money go? Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, honestly, Sundays is like, it used to be my favorite day of the week. I'm dreading Sundays now. I actually hate them.
Well, I will treasure last week because, things were going poorly for me. And then Justin Fields changed the day with a horrible pick six.
That was good. Lions? Bet on the Lions.
The Lions were dead in that game. They somehow cover as the gold pick.
You know what, though, Rob? Jacksonville, we had no business not covering that game, though. That's what I'm talking. No, at the start of the game, the possessions, they could have been up in that game huge. They screwed up. Like, I get it, but if you watch that whole game, Jacksonville really screwed up that game.
Well, they did. Jacksonville had a surprise onside kick to start the game, so they stole a possession. They also were +3 turnover margin. They still lost by 10. I can't say that was the right side. Like, they lost by 10 and they had 4 extra possessions in the game.
Well, man, they just suck.
They suck.
Yes.
Well, to recap, Rob, you were 2-1 last week. Hit the gold, hit the silver. That's great. Cam, you were 1-2. The Lions came through for you on the bronze. Myself, winless, 0-3. I think it's the first time in the 2 years that we've done this show, I've been 0-3, and I'm not going to lie to you. It really put a severe downturn in my betting account. But hey, I want to remain optimistic about this. Sometimes you have bad weeks. Sometimes you have good weeks. Hopefully, water finds its level, and hopefully we can find some stuff on the board this week. I don't feel great about any games, but there's a bunch of games that I really like. I didn't hear what you guys were talking about beforehand in terms of the crossover games that you like, but it worked out last week. You both had Detroit. Cam, you and I both had Cleveland, which looked good for about 8 minutes, and then it didn't look so good anymore.
I'm going to tell you a story, Pat. Like, there's very things in life that I hate. Rob knows, like, I'll eat any type of food, whatever. I hate the Cleveland Browns. This team, other than the Pittsburgh game this year, like, these guys are a bunch of numbnuts. Every time I take them, I think, like, I don't know why I think they're a better football team than they are. They suck. I'm done. And Rob, I always come back to teams after getting smoked and stuff. Cleveland, you're dead to me. God, I hate that team.
Cleveland has games where they look pathetic, and then they have games like the Cincinnati Halloween night game where they look like they're an amazing team. I don't really understand the team, but they have a pretty large range on what they can be. I'm surprised you prefer eating dog biscuits over betting the Cleveland Browns, though, Cam. You'll eat anything, dog biscuits, but I won't bet the Browns anymore.
I'm starting to really think, like, I know October was a really rough month, but it's just bleeding into November. I didn't even tell you guys this, too. I had to help my mom out. Anyway, she's texting me right now. Cameron, where are you? I got to take her to appointments. But anyway, I go to get the car from the garage. Oh, you're going to like this one, Rob. It involves not having a key. Yeah. Remember, if I had the garage key, maybe I could have found a way. But anyway, can't get in. I try whatever. I go to the store 7 a.m. and get a battery, not working. Get the code thing, it's dead. I go in, my Polish neighbor's coming across. He's like, okay. He goes, I'm sorry, Kevin. He goes, we got to break it. We got to break the glass. Okay. I go, can we do it in one pane? Pop it out. Whatever. I'm into the garage. We solved the problem. The guy actually, after he broke it too, he came over with tools and fixed it. Great guy. He doesn't drink, but I'm getting him a pet value card because he's a nice little pooch that I'm going to give him a thank you card. But I'm going to tell you, Rob, this is the way things go for me. And the funny thing is, ironically, if I had the little garage key at the bottom, I'm not sure if it would have worked, but it's the only key I don't have. That's why I'm smashing my own windows to break into my own garage to get things. Like I'm a loser, buddy.
You're talking about the key where you then have to twist the knob and lift the garage itself.
Yeah. But he told me the thing was off the track, so it might have not have worked. I had to do like the manual, the pull thing, to get like to pull the garage up.
Yeah, that's not fun. I don't understand how the keypads don't work in your life though. Like I've had
they get frozen. It was a cold day. The buttons didn't work.
I live in the same country and region as you do.
Buddy, you know what? I'm not going to bring in guests for this show because it's me, you, and Pat. But I've my Filipino neighbor and the other guy can attest to it. They both tried, and they said it's a piece of crap. Okay.
Well, I think it's time to get a new keypad then, maybe.
I think it's time to get a lot of things. Let's start with winners today, so we can get some money and maybe go shopping.
Okay.
How's that sound?
And we can give more pet value cards out to our friends.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to do.
Honestly, that might be the act that changes your season around. We know this as sports bettors. There's like a little bit of karma here and there. Maybe you were doing some bad things in your life. I'm not suggesting you were,
okay.
But maybe you were
doing
doing
bad things in my life. So breaking into my own home with help from a neighbor is going to help my life moving forward. Okay,
I'm saying, you gave your gift. You're giving a gift to your neighbor. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes that might turn things around.
Pat, imagine I had children. You have kids. What am I going to do? Like, I can't even deal with I'd leave my kids at the mall. I don't know what I would do. Like they'd be like an Amber Alert for my children. They're missing. Like I can't even deal with myself.
Well,
you give them all for having kids.
You give them all their own key and they'd find their way home. It'd be fine.
That's right. Hey, we used to wear keys around our necks as kids. They got it. That doesn't happen anymore.
You used to wear a key around your neck?
Everybody did. And to get in your parents' house, it was like kind of jewelry. If you, that's what you did. Like if your mom and dad had to work late or whatever like that, you go home and you have your key. Where that's how you get back into your house.
No, but why didn't you put it in your pocket?
I'd prefer to have it around my neck because when you're playing sports and stuff at recess, it might fall out of your pocket. This is what didn't we have this discussion 2 weeks ago? Loose keys. Anyway, I don't want to talk about keys anymore. I'm sick and tired of this conversation.
But what if you were getting bullied in the schoolyard and they just beat you up and took your key? It would be a lot easier if it was around your neck than if you had it hidden away.
Getting a call from Ontario, California right now. Yeah. You're something.
Need some CBD gummies, you asshole. I'm getting prank calls at friggin' 9 a.m. Oh, man. Anyway.
Anyway. What's going on here? Your default microphone has changed to UC.
No, you're good. You're good. You're back.
You're back now. You're back.
You're back.
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't talking? What the hell?
No.
You were talking. You're good. Everything is resolved. Let's talk about.
Pat, I can't lie. I can't lie to you. I'm rattled.
Maybe this is a good headspace to be in for the gold picks this week. I did want to quickly talk about, your Cleveland Browns and my Cleveland Browns from last week. Rob, there's supposed to be 8 feet of snow or something crazy in Buffalo this week. They might move the game to Detroit. That's what Schefter is tweeting out. However, the Sunday forecast, we're still quite a ways away from Sunday. It doesn't actually look like there's much snow on it at all. It's all going to be dumped down already. So the field might be actually fine for the game. It might not be snowing at all, but the line hasn't changed. Are you surprised?
I'm a little bit surprised. There's a few things that play in. So there's the weather that plays a factor in this game. And I agree with you, Pat. I think they're saying that by game time, the field will be clear of snow. We obviously have to look out for the wind conditions in Buffalo. That's what's going to affect the passing games the most. But Buffalo had, I believe, 5 players that didn't practice yesterday because of the flu. There could potentially be a flu going around within the team. So I think that's a team that specifically with the Josh Allen injury, or potential injury. I mean, he looked fine last week, even though they didn't win the game, and the potential of flu going around the team that no one really just wants to step in on Buffalo right now. So, the Bills will look very appealing to me later in the week if they have a healthy lineup and if the win conditions aren't too bad.
Reminder to everyone out there, we're going to change up the schedule a little bit next week. You'll have your best bet show on Thursday. Cuss, Jeff, and I will have the regular spread pick show, but we're doing a special Thanksgiving show, which should come out on Monday evening. So be very on the lookout for that. Plus, 10 a.m. live on Mayo Media Network on the YouTube channel. Next week, it's going to be Rob and Cam, me, Jeff, and Tim for a Thanksgiving Day spectacular, doing our best bets for those 3 games. 1 bet each from each of the games, and we'll see how we do. Tune in live to that and set a reminder right now by subbing to Mayo Media Network. My gold pick of the week, I liked it better when I bet it earlier at +5. It's down to +4. I just really like the Steelers at home against the Bengals in this game. I just take a look at the Cincinnati offense. Yeah, they laid the smackdown on Carolina. That's great. Beat the crap out of Carolina all you want. The rush defense, especially now that TJ Watt is back, both getting to the passer and the rush defense overall for the Steelers has been excellent over the last month. If the Bengals cannot get Joe Mixon going, even when we go back to week 1 of the season, yeah, Burrow had 5 turnovers and they still should have won the game. They lost in overtime. Their entire method of coming back in that game was throw to Jamar Chase on every down. Well, he's not there anymore. It seems like it's going to be cold. Seems like it's going to be a run-heavy game here. I really believe that the Steelers' defense is maybe not elite, but probably a top 10, top 5 unit for the rest of the year. I think they're going to give Burrow a bunch of problems, give him no time. Feels like a field goal game to me. So I shall take the +4 with the home dog and the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rob.
I completely agree with you. This was going to make my selections for picks, or was on the cusp. I don't think the market has quite caught up to the Steelers just yet. I mentioned this last week. I took them as my silver pick. Obviously, you mentioned it, Pat. There's a massive difference with TJ Watt on and off the field. That manifested itself last week against New Orleans. Now, granted, Joe Burrow's not Andy Dalton, but if you look at the Bengals this year, they've struggled with elite pass rushers this season. I referenced the Halloween night game when Myles Garrett single-handedly killed the Bengals O-line, and the Steelers moved TJ Watt around on the line of scrimmage, which I like a lot more. Now, since he's coming off a bye, they're going to get healthier. I'd like this a lot more if DJ Reader misses another game for the Cincinnati Bengals, because their run defense has been suspect without him. But regardless, I think it's too many points. And I think it's no coincidence that Pittsburgh finally played a bad team last week and they looked just fine. Their schedule has underrated them this year. TJ Watt back. I completely agree. On top of that, the Bengals are suffering at cornerback. Chidobe Awuzie is on IR. I do like the Pittsburgh Steelers' top 2 receivers there as well. So I'm in full agreement with you, Pat. I thought this game would be lower than where we are in market. So I think there's value with Steelers +4.
Yeah, I would bet this down to, I mean, once we get to 3, I feel like all bets
3,
are off, but I'd still take the 3.5 if that's what it ends up going to. It reminds me a lot like the Dallas-Green Bay game from last week, although, I mean, Dallas was up by 14 in the fourth quarter, so felt like I was doing pretty well there for a while until I wasn't, Cam. Do you like the Steelers?
Funny you mentioned Dallas. Eileen Steelers. Dallas will be my gold pick.
Ooh, okay. You and Cuss.
I wish I. Oh, God.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, it's just.
I will say.
But anyway, actually, you go, Rob.
I will say, in defense of Cust, I don't want to make enemies here. I'll big up people when they're doing well. Cust's gold picks, his super locks this year have actually fared pretty well. He's doing well with
these
them.
These guys start fights with us. Pizzola likes to stir the pot. We don't do nothing. We just come on this show. I talk about being a loser with the 90 keys around Mississauga. But you know what? Pizzola's like, hey, you hear what these guys are saying and stuff? I don't start no fights. I just hear what's going on in the rumor mill. But I will say, so you're telling me he's doing good with his goal?
Yes.
He is. Cam doesn't start fights. He ends fights.
Thanks, Pizzola. I've been beaten up by the best. I've actually had a couple guys who played in the NHL that have beaten me up before. So I've been beaten up by guys who are like, remember Eric Cairns? Remember that guy? Like he played like 6'10" for the Florida Panthers. That guy used my face as a speed bag. Anyway, when we were kids, here's the deal: Dallas Cowboys leading in that game. Everyone's talking about Minnesota. Did you watch the Buffalo game? It wasn't just Minnesota's comeback. Buffalo was inept. A lot of it was luck too. Like these ass snaps and all this other stuff that happened in the game. The thing is, I have Minnesota winning that division, but in my opinion, they're not a one-loss team. They're getting pretty lucky too. Dallas, on the other hand, one thing they do is rush the quarterback. I think I see Kirk Cousins eating turf in this game. The way I eat chicken wings, this guy's going to like grass and all sorts of stuff. He is going to be on his ass the whole game. Cowboys by 8. Give me Dallas. And this is a good spot after a heartbreaking loss against Green Bay with McCarthy looking like a stooge. This is where they go in there and get it done. They beat Minnesota. I like Dallas a lot.
Rob, we all took Dallas on the spread show, and it was 1.5 at that time too. I think it opened at 2.5 when we did the Sunday night show. And we were like, really? When we tried to guess the spreads, I think we all had Minnesota by a point, a pick 'em, Minnesota by 2. And it just seems like the conventional wisdom would have been like, well, Minnesota, they have the one loss. Dallas coming off a very visibly nationally televised, heartbreaking loss where they blew the game. But everyone just seems to be on board with Dallas this week.
As am I. This was another game that I was considering in my top 3. Probably will still make it regardless. But I think Cam hit the nail on the head with the Vikings. Like, listen, you can say the Vikings are good and you can say that they're lucky, and both can be true.
I agree.
And that's the case. The Vikings are a good team. They've also been by far the luckiest team in the NFL. Like, you cannot... They lost the game. They should have lost the game twice last week to Buffalo, but because they end up winning the game on the miracle Justin Jefferson catch, which, by the way, was like unreal, absurd catch that the Bills defender should have just knocked down anyways, plus the quarterback sneak fumble from Josh Allen. Like, there's so much that went right for them in last week's game. I think that Dallas presents a major matchup problem for Minnesota. So, like, if you're just looking at power ratings, you might say this line is wrong. Like, maybe these teams are equal. You got to give Minnesota some home field or whatever. But Kirk Cousins kept clean versus Kirk Cousins under pressure is the largest discrepancy among any quarterback in the league. It's not even close. By every conceivable metric, Cousins is way, way, way worse when he's under pressure. In the games where he's been pressured the most this season, which was last week against Buffalo, week 2 against Philly, he had 4 turnover-worthy plays in both of those games. So I see Dallas getting a lot of pressure. They're likely going to get Anthony Barr back this week on defense, which a lot of people say, Anthony Barr, he's just a linebacker at this point. When he's on the field, Micah Parsons rushes the passer a whole lot more. If you notice last week against Green Bay, Micah Parsons, for some godforsaken reason, was dropping into coverage a whole lot during the game. That's because they were missing Anthony Barr, and they do that a lot when he's out of the lineup.
Anthony Barr used to play for the Vikings, too. Don't you think he's going to be fired up for that?
Sure, but I think all the players on the field will be fired up. Personally.
You know what I mean, though. I like to be used to when he played sports against your former teams. You get, it's got a little spark.
I'm with Rob on this, that I don't really think it makes one lick of difference outside of if you're betting anytime touchdowns for running backs against a former team. Because I do work under the theory that the head coaches just being people, trying to be good people, will give them a shot from the 1 yard line if it's their former team.
When I played hockey and stuff, and I went up against a former team, I don't know what it was. Like, you just want to play. Anyway, you're right. Okay, no, they're all professional athletes. Anthony Barr, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, it's the NFL. They play once a week. The games all matter to everyone. Yeah. Like, they're all getting up for the games, is what I'm saying. Unless you're the Raiders, which you don't get up for any game.
Actually, I like the Raiders this week.
Oh God,
that's another story.
That's because you hate Denver.
No. Yeah, know what, Pat? That's fair. If we were in court, I'd say it's a fair argument. Yep, true.
It would be hard as someone who was pretty invested in Denver last week too. It's funny. I went 6 and 8.
I'm done with Denver.
I went 6 and 8 last week. I bet on 5 games, and the 5 games I bet on were part of those 8 losses. None of the 6 wins. That's never a fun week, Rob.
Oh man, that's just those weeks happen. It's just pure pain. What are you gonna do, man? At the end of the day, you just got to put it in the rearview mirror. Try to move on, and hopefully it doesn't happen several weeks in a row like it has for me this year, which you want to put your head through a wall at that point.
Exactly. I'm the conductor of the pain train. I've had enough.
The pain train? Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good.
No, it's a train of pain. That's exactly what it is. It's
I
you
hear
just
it.
sit there, and at every stop on the friggin' route, you get murdered. Like, instead of picking up a parcel, you get stabby, right? You get punched in the face. I'm going to tell you something. The pain train blows, and I want it to end immediately. I want off.
I think that's your first. I think it's your first stabbing reference of the year after like 8 consecutive weeks last year.
Yeah, well, Keys is obviously the winner this year. If we're playing Pee Wee Herman's word game, hey, Keys, and everything falls down from the sky. But you're right. No, I've never stabbed anybody in my life, Pat. To be honest with you, I don't even carry a jackknife. I use knife for cutting meats and salads. That's I don't really like knives.
Is that why last year
I don't collect them?
The common theme was definitely murder as a whole last year. Like, murder came up on a weekly basis, but it's been a little bit calmer this year for the most part.
Well, Not
You
in my
know.
neighborhood, though. The murder rate, it's very dangerous. I go a little bit east to Dundas and here, Ontario. Like, this is not a safe area anymore. Grifters personified, man. Like, I used to walk the streets at night. You got to be kidding me. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Do you have the loose keys so you can like jam them in between your knuckles, like when you get into like
That's
if
a
you're
good
walking
call,
late
Pat. Yeah.
at night?
Excellent idea. If you don't have a knife, you can put a key and put it in somebody's
Well,
neck.
you can actually put like 3 in there, and you could be like Wolverine. You could do
Yeah,
some triple damage.
I agree. Or you
And
could
once
just
the key goes in,
or you could
twist.
just go to get brass knuckles, do some other things too. But I like the key. If you have to improvise, 3 keys as Wolverine sound.
Well, it'd be
I like
tough.
that one.
It would be tough to get
Yeah.
the 3 keys if you didn't have all your keys on a chain, though. It'd be tough to like really put 3 loose keys in
But
there.
Pat, I carry loose keys, so I can be Wolverine. I don't keep them on the chain.
No,
Remember?
I'm saying it works the opposite way, though.
Oh, I see. Yes.
They-
Sorry,
they-
I'm half.
They have to be loose though. If you have them around your neck, it's going to be impossible. You can't.
Yeah,
just
because you're what are you going to do? Like lift it off like a metal, and then
Yeah.
it's too long.
So
Too long. The guy's already in your pockets. You're done.
exactly. You need them. You need them loose.
Pittsburgh for me, Dallas for Cam. Rob,
Nice.
where are you going with your gold selection?
Guys, I'm very ashamed with where I'm going for my gold selection. Sometimes
Carolina, beat
you
Carolina.
you set yourself up to look like a complete moron. This might be the week this week.
Colts.
I'm taking the Houston Texans plus 3 points at home to the Washington Commanders.
What are you
As
talking
much-
about? It's a great pick.
I liked it with the hook. I don't know if they could win.
I
by-
know, Pat.
I don't even know
Well,
if they could
listen,
lose
I-
by 3 or
I
less.
got it at that.
I don't want Jeff and Cuss to be calling us out again for
We're getting bad lines, guys.
Yeah, like I'm going to use the real lines that are currently available at DraftKings, just so everyone's aware. Transparent. Don't want the other show calling me out again or anything like that.
Yeah.
Kind of, it still really rattles me that they did that to us, Cam.
For no reason. We're friends. We're
Like the
friendly
only time
guys.
we've ever talked about them was when Pat has goaded us into it. Like Pat will
I
be like,
agree.
"Oh, Cuss did this and McDonald's Monopoly," and then we go off because we've been set up to do that. But I didn't feel too good about that.
I'm with
Still
you,
don't feel
Pizzola.
too
You
good.
know about me. I'm a loyal guy. Stick to our crew this year. And Jeff, I love Cuss is a great guy, but we didn't start this fight. Like these guys are coming at us. Like we just want to make picks and win.
Yeah.
Right.
You watch Dateline NBC, all those shows. You know what happens to these guys that start needling and picking fights. You know what happens in the
But
long run.
I go to my safe and get a gun.
They
And snap?
they disappear,
They disappear.
and no one can find them.
You're right.
I've seen it happen too
Yeah,
many
I know.
times.
It's
Better.
true.
I'm not. By the way, for the record, I'm not threatening Jeff or Cuss in any way.
We're
I'm
friends.
just saying,
Yeah,
tends
exactly.
to happen to people like that.
Yep.
Tends to happen.
Yeah, don't start fights.
Where were we? Oh, Houston Texans.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay. I've been on the Washington train for a bit now.
Good trade.
It's been a good train. I think it's time to get off because I'll give credit to Taylor Heineke for what he's done. He's been an improvement over Carson Wentz, but Taylor Heineke has 10 turnover-worthy plays in his last 4 games. He only actually has 5 turnovers. For perspective, his turnover-worthy play rate this season is 6.9%. Of all the quarterbacks that are going to start this week, that is by far the worst in the NFL. Zach Wilson is the next highest at 5.6%. So consider that Taylor Heineke should be giving away the ball way more than Zach Wilson is right now. He's been lucky to not do that, including a couple against the Eagles this past week. Say what you want about Davis Mills. I don't think highly of him. I've talked about this before, but he does protect the ball really well. And when you look at Davis Mills over the course of his career, he has very, very drastic home road splits. And I'm not a huge fan of taking like a small sample in the NFL and dividing it into something even smaller. But I don't think you can ignore the fact that in 11 career games at home for Davis Mills, he has a QB rating of over 100. In road games, he has a QB rating of 71.3. His interception rate doubles on the road. Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, they're playing again. Washington's secondary is not good. Their best corner is Kendall Fuller. He's graded out as the 68th best cornerback per Pro Football Focus this year. Houston coming off a extremely misleading loss. I bet the Giants at post last week, personally.
You're right. Houston should have won that game.
Houston had 6 trips into the red zone. They scored 1 touchdown. I think they're undervalued. I think Washington is overvalued coming off of the primetime win against the Eagles. I will take the 3. I made it 2.5. that is a pretty large difference in the NFL when you're getting the 3 points. You now need Washington to win by 4 in order for you to lose your bet. I don't think they're going to do that all that often. So I'll take the Texans as my goal this week, and I won't show up to record next week when they lose by 35.
Hey, you got to show up. Come on.
Well, I'll wear a mask.
We always
I'll put on a mask.
Honestly,
in shame.
Rob, I will say this. We've done this show for a few years. That was the best breakdown of a game I think I've ever heard on the show. And no, I'm just
I appreciate that.
You brought it to the table. Those are some interesting stats. Like, I'm usually not a trend guy, a stats guy. I'm more of a feel. That was fantastic. Just going to give you credit.
Thank you very much. That's what we do on this show, Cam. We boost our egos relative to the other guys who try to bring us down.
Well, you can get these great breakdowns of these games from Rob and Cam, but Cam, on the Spread Pick Show, you can get a breakdown of how Tim thinks that throwing ice out his window is littering.
What, something that melts?
Yeah.
And in the winter, just like okay.
Is he freezing? Is he freezing garbage in the ice?
I really like
before he throws it out.
I really like it. I will give people a lifetime hack here. Ice cube trays, they're for turkeys. I'll tell you what you do. You get a big bowl, you fill it up with water, and you put it in, and you go, and then you got like 6 bags of ice. Just little tricks. Cube. If you're having people over, which I don't, because I don't generally have people over anymore. I like to get out of my house. Actually, this place is part of the problem why I'm mentally not doing very well. I work here, I sleep here, I live here. I got to go outside, so I usually go to my buddy's place now. That's what you do, Rob. Big container, just fill it up, smash it up, big chunks, ice cube trays. It's great for a party. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. Would you not agree with that trick?
Is that
you also get to practice your stabbing?
Yeah, you get to practice your stabbing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you get the old knife sharpener thing. It's nice and round.
You just pretend Cust is the bowl, and you go to town. You don't do that in real life. You just pretend. Get the anger out.
That's right. Anyway, you don't need to buy ice. I got tricks. Just fill up bowls and smash them. Okay, what else we got? Are we silver? Silver picks?
We'll get, you know what? We can get to the silver picks right now if you want to. Cam, what do you got for a silver pick?
Sorry, because my mom's texting me and it's really starting to upset me. I told you I'd be there when I'm done the show. I got to tape a show. Silver picks, I'm going to go. You know what? I can't get off these guys. I love the Detroit Lions. This team has been a friend to me recently when things could have even been worse. The Lions find ways. Rob, I'm not sure if this game was going to meet your criteria, but I really want a 3.5, 4. I just think the Lions are better. Like you see, everything you said in your last preview, the Giants are the biggest fraudulent team in the National Football League. I don't care. You run it through Rob's supercomputer and you'll find out. The Lions, I know they have flaws. They have issues on the defensive side of the ball, but man, that offense can move. You saw the comeback against the Bears. These guys are putting up points. They seem to be getting up better all the time. They're playing for Campbell. This team looked like they were dead in the water. Not anymore. Give me the Detroit Lions. I think they win this game outright. And you know what? I'm not getting 3.5. We're not buying any whatever. On the show, the spread says 3. I'll take the damn 3 with the Lions.
All right, well, I'm going to get a 3.5, but it's not going to be on the Lions, Rob. It's going to be on the Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. I don't understand this line. And listen, I love the mighty Atlanta Falcons, and I understand the Bears defense is absolute trash, but so is the Falcons. I just don't understand how they have an answer for Justin Fields scoring points. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win this game, but if they lose, it'll be like last week, like 32-30 or something outrageous like that. Like Atlanta's best chance at winning this game is Fields doing something stupid like he did last week and giving them the game. But I just don't see a way that Atlanta can shut down this new look Chicago offense.
I agree with you. I think a lot of people are going to, this is your specialty, Pat, where you specifically talk about how sometimes people look at a game and they like galaxy brain themselves into like, oh, the sports book knows something. This is the game this week, right? I think where people are like, oh, the Falcons 3.5, the sports books must know something. There's no way that the Falcons should be 3.5. Therefore, I can't bet the Bears. No, like there's not much separating these two teams at all. The problem with the Falcons is, okay, the line is moving in their favor because A.J. Terrell is practicing. So they might get their star cornerback back, which is obviously going to be an upgrade for them on the field. But they don't generate pressure ever. Against any team, they don't generate pressure. They're dead last in pressure rate by a mile in the league this year. And on top of that, their linebacking core sucks. It's one of the worst. They traded away Roquan Smith. Good luck trying to defend Justin Fields in the running game with the linebackers they have. They just won't be able to do it. So I agree with you. It's especially at 3.5. I think that's kind of a bargain price here. Needing Atlanta to win by 4, not really a great bet that you want to make a whole lot. They've only done it twice this year. Once was against San Fran when San Fran had like 60 players out with injuries that game. It was like a disaster. They were playing like the B team for that game. So I'm in agreement.
Atlanta's not good. They're not good. They're not good.
Like Atlanta started the year with and credit to Pat, he made a lot of money off Atlanta for the first 4 or 5 weeks where they were undervalued in market. They went 6-0 against the spread. Since then, they had the push against the Chargers and they haven't covered 2 games and kind of like they just lost to Carolina.
We were on Carolina. Yeah, it's just Atlanta's not good. They got lucky at the start of the year. Mariota, you think Wilson makes bad decisions? Guy's getting sacked and just throws up the ball. Catch it, somebody. Like, you know what I mean? He does a lot of stupid stuff. I'm with you, Pat. I think the Bears can win this game outright. Good pick.
All right, Rob, silver pick.
I'm going to piggyback the Dallas Cowboys as a silver pick. I'm obviously a Cowboys fan. People who follow me know this about me. I am pretty impartial when it comes to Dallas. I have bet against them this year and on the show in the past as well. I do think that this matchup favors them quite a bit just because of the Kirk Cousins pressure stuff that I mentioned earlier on when Cam was breaking it down. Also, like a lot of people will say that the Vikings run defense is very good and that like Dallas is not going to be able to run the ball on them. That's actually true. The Vikings have a very good run defense, but people view the Cowboys as this huge, big rushing team because of all these games that they played with Cooper Rush earlier in the year where they asked him to do nothing and they just ran the ball nonstop. With Dak on the field this year, they're much closer to 50-50 in terms of run-pass splits. In fact, they actually passed 5% more than expected on first down with Dak Prescott on the field this year. So they're not this team that's just going to try to jam it down Minnesota's throat on every single down this week, especially not in a stadium that's like, confined from the elements indoors. I like Dallas in this game. I think that it's just a really good matchup for them. And honestly, maybe Minnesota is just going to be that team this year where they're going to ride the luck train forever, but they have been extremely lucky. Like you cannot look at that team. Pretty much every luck metric you would look at, you would say that this has to end at some point soon. So I'm not saying that this is going to be the game, but it will happen at some point.
I'm starting to worry that everyone likes Dallas.
Me too.
And Minnesota just pulls the rug from underneath everyone every week anyway. That like this is setting up to be a disaster.
You're right, Pat. Like I love Dallas earlier. Now the fact that everyone's on it, like I like to take those dogs that no one likes. It used to be the Lions, right? That's kind of I'm concerned now too. But we can't change our pick because we have concerns.
That's correct.
I don't have concerns. I don't care about what anyone else thinks.
You're right.
On any game.
Yeah, good call, Rob. That's the way you got it.
I care about what I
cares?
think. Yep. Exactly. If you've been betting the NFL for a long time and you've been successful at doing it, then why care what other people think? Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. If you've been unsuccessful at doing it and you stink and you're losing all the time every single year, then okay, maybe you want to value some other people's opinions. And I'm not saying I don't value other people's opinions, but at the end of the day, why set a number on a game and handicap a game if I'm just going to turn around and say, oh, like everything I see here, maybe I'm wrong about it because somebody else or too many people are on the same side. Yeah. I never bought into that.
Well, let's see if we can get to the bronze picks and figure out what we're doing down there. Rob, you can go first on the bronze. You've gone last on the first two. Let's hear it.
I'm going to be the guy that's too repetitive this week. I hate doing it, and I do like to mix up different games, but Pittsburgh is the one that stands out to me as the one I have to put into the bronze spot. I think that this game should be lined closer to 3. Maybe an argument for 3.5, but getting 4, I think is just too valuable in this spot. Again, I think the market is eventually going to catch up on the Steelers. We haven't yet, but they have played the absolute gauntlet of NFL teams this year. Anyone go through their schedule, look at who they've played. Like it's been nuts. And they finally got New Orleans last week. They won. They get TJ Watt back. I think this is a much more competitive team as well, relative to what we thought at the beginning of the year, because I think Kenny Pickett is way better than Mitch Trubisky as well, which kind of goes unnoticed, and he's improving on a weekly basis. So I'm with you, Pat. I'll piggyback on your goal pick, and I'll take the Steelers +4.
Okay. Cam, do you have it narrowed down for your final selection? Because we can talk through some games here, because my short list has 4 games on it right now for my bronze pick.
Yep. Every game that I love the Bears. It almost made the list. All the stuff that we talked about, we're in agreement this week. So I could tell you if one of our If one of us does well, we're probably all going to do well this week. And I'm going to piggyback Rob. I got this line earlier, but we're betting with it now. The Washington Commanders beat Philadelphia. Philadelphia, that's the best thing that happened to that team losing that game. Heineke, you talk about it, Rob. Love the work ethic, but really, like this is the thing. Like we were all on Washington plus 11 against Philadelphia. That line was ridiculous in my opinion. I wish I had the stones to bet the money line. But Houston at home, you said about Mills, different quarterback at home. Pierce in the running game is going to set things up, and Washington can be attacked through the air. I know everyone's thinking the Commanders. We remember what we saw last in the NFL. Screw it. I know I'm not happy about the 3 because it was open at what did it open at 4, Rob? Was it 4 or 3.5? I thought there were a 4.
It was actually sent out under 3.
Really?
It depends. Listen, I don't like to say what it opened at because every sportsbook.
I saw 3.5s everywhere.
Yes, it got bet up immediately to 3.5, or that was the adjustment after the Monday Night Football game. But it was on the board prior to Monday Night Football at less than 3.
Sorry, hold on, Mom. I'm wrapping up the show. I will call you back. Like literally, I'm literally on the bronze picks.
Hi, Joanne. Say hello to Joanne.
Rob
for
and
me.
Pat say hi, Joanne. We love you. I will be at your place immediately after the show. Love you, Mom. The show's over in about 15 minutes. I'm going to be on my way. Trust me, everything's cool. Okay?
All good.
Love
All good,
you.
Joanne. Hang in there.
As I said.
All right,
See what
well,
I'm talking about?
I-
I'm
I-
a grown man. I'm getting calls. Like I had to take it because she doesn't know what a text. She's like, 30 cents a text. I'm like, hey. Anyway, so what are we talking? Texans. Yeehaw! Yeah.
all right, I got these 4 games to run by you that I like. One is actually the Thursday night game. I won't do Thursday night on this because I like the show to last a little bit, but I do like the Texans plus 3.5. Now that
Titans.
Titans. Sorry, yeah. Now you
I
guys
like the Titans too, Pat.
You guys
I
got
like the
Texans on my
Titans.
mind. Yeah, the Texans just are going to play field goal games essentially against everyone. And hopefully the luck just goes your way. They can win this game, though. Feels like the Packers are a bit overvalued now versus the Titans, who play the same game every single week, regardless of who they're playing. But the 3 on Sunday, one is the Colts, plus 7. I think they're a weird matchup for the Eagles, and it might be, hey, you're buying the Colts at the top, you're buying the Eagles at what could theoretically be their bottom coming off of a loss, but short week for the Eagles. Really good run defense and defense overall for the Colts. You can run on Philadelphia, as we saw on Monday night, and it does seem like Jeff Saturday is pretty convinced that, just give Jonathan Taylor 30 carries, see what happens. So I don't mind that one. The Jets plus 3.5 in New England. That one scares me. I really
tough game.
I like that hook though, because yes, the Patriots do have some larger wins, but this just screams field goal game either way to me, especially with both teams coming off a bye. But the way that the Jets defense has been playing has been so good. And then the one that I can't believe I'm saying this, but Rams plus 3.5 against the Saints. The Rams aren't good. Obviously, there's no Cooper Kupp, but Rob, you've hit on it a few times now. The Saints are really bad.
Both those teams are a disaster.
That game's dead to me. I don't even want to talk about it.
I was originally eyeing the Rams as well, and then I saw 4 of their starting 5 O-linemen listed on the injury report yesterday.
How's that going to change anything? They couldn't block anyway with those guys.
This is my point,
it's
though,
worse.
Pat. It seemingly cannot get worse for them on the O-line, and it can. That's what's the most scary part about the entire situation. Saints injury report's a disaster too. Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport, both. I want nothing to do with that game. The Colts game you mentioned, that's a very good number. The 7 at DraftKings is a good price. A lot of the markets moved to 6.5 there, so getting 7 is valuable. I don't know about the Colts. I think you probably got the right side, but I worry about no Shaq Leonard there. I think he would have been great at defending Jalen Hurts in that running game that the Eagles have overall. And the Eagles have played a lot of games this year where they have just smoked the inferior teams. So I actually don't even really like any of these, Pat. I'll be just completely honest. I bet the Patriots minus 3. 3.5 is a different story. 3 and 3.5 are not the same thing. And I completely understand the appeal of betting against the Patriots offense and getting the hook. But to me, the line makes really no sense. The Patriots were minus 3 at the Jets 3 weeks ago. And now they're going to go home and the number is going to be floating between 3 and 3.5. How many times do we have to see Zach Wilson against Bill Belichick? The guy cannot beat this defense. He's a deer in the headlights. It was Sam Darnold back in the day that said he was seeing ghosts. It's going to be Zach Wilson the same way. I I don't know. I lean Patriots.
Go with Tennessee,
strongly.
Pat. You like Tennessee with 3.5? Why don't you take a shot with the Thursday nighter?
You know what? I like that. I will go Tennessee plus 3.5 as my bronze selection of the week.
Please let it win.
Trying to start.
I don't want to give you bad advice.
I don't think that. I mean, I've been doing well on Sunday night and Monday night football. Thursday night football has been an entirely different story for me this year. Usually, I just don't even touch the game. It's got to the point where, like, what do you make of that Thursday night game, Rob? Do you like the 3.5?
So, ordinarily, if this was a Sunday game, I would be absolutely pounding the Titans 3.5 because the likelihood that they would get some players back from injury would be high. I would rather bet Tennessee than Green Bay in this spot, but Tennessee's pretty beaten up on defense right now. If Jeffrey Simmons doesn't play, Amani Hooker out as well, Bud Dupree, Zach Cunningham's on IR. Like, I don't like the game. I like the Titans or nothing. I'm not laying the total's 41 and it's the Packers offense. I'm not laying 3.5 points, but I can't find it within me to bet Tennessee right now.
All right, fair enough. I will make Tennessee plus 3.5, my bronze selection, on the advice of Mr. Cameron Stewart. That's going to do it for the Week 11 Best Bets. You can catch Cam on Sports Grid, I don't know, 23 hours a day or something? That sound about right?
A lot lately. Yeah, it's quite a lift. For an older gentleman, I'm trying to lower my schedule, but I got to come up with a game plan. I'll talk to Rob. Yeah.
At Cam Stewart Live on Twitter, at Rob Pizzola on Twitter, thehammer.bet for all your sports betting needs. Rob, what do you got going on this week at The Hammer?
Well, we're preparing for World Cup. We're going to be doing a daily show starting next week, which will go live after all the games are done, 4:15 Eastern time every day, recapping the games. And then looking ahead to the next day's games, we obviously can't go live before the games because they start at 5 a.m. So we will be doing a daily show. Myself, Alex Moretto, will be on regularly breaking down the World Cup. I know nothing. Well, I don't want to say I know nothing about soccer. I'm not a winning soccer bettor. So this should be really fun trying to degen some bets on a daily basis. And then Sunday mornings, I am live doing the pizza buffet on the Hammer Betting Network, breaking down every single game in the NFL.
Well, you can go to YouTube and go to Hammer HQ, or you can just hit the description and find the link down there and go subscribe to it right now. runthesims.com/Mayo to get yourself 10% off. Remember to smash the like, sub to the channel, and please rate and review the audio podcast. Additionally, if you're looking for some free bucks on a DFS site, email the Pat Mayo Experience at gmail.com. If you got PayPal and you live in the United States, sounds like a scam. It's not a scam. I'll hook you up, okay? I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!